Good evening. So this is the last video of tonight. I will try to let it short. I don't want to enter into details. I've reviewed the video that I've posted and went in direct. Some are very intense, a little bit abrupt, but generally I think they are pretty quality. I speak with my heart, I speak frankly, I speak directly, and I hope you are not too shocked by the vision you have of a modern monk. So the subject of this little talk tonight is more about what is happening inside of Zazen when you sit. So I will speak about two things. The only thing I really want to speak about is a little bit what is this dhyana the Buddha was talking about. And the second thing I want to talk about, that actually I want to show you, is a specific posture of your legs. How to sit to actually trigger and facilitate your accessions to magical powers that you can expect to develop when you have intense practice of Zazen. It's also a nice way to sit so that when, for example, you do a retreat, you can also change the way you cross your legs. Okay? Because after a certain time of Zazen, during the sessions, during the retreat, maybe your legs are tired, and in the morning you'll have a beautiful lotus, and at 11 you'll have a half lotus, and at 4 o'clock you'll have the quarter of lotus, and the evening itself your legs are completely distracted, and so you don't feel like involving your legs anymore inside of the exercise. So I will speak about one specific posture. Also because I have affections for the followers of that day and those who will look at the video, I want to speak to you about how to sleep Zen, how to go to sleep, and how to practice a form of postural meditation in your bed when you do a nap or when you go to sleep. It's an invention of my own. It's not Zazen. We cannot speak about Zazen laying. I call it neruzen. Neru meaning laying. After that, I'll make a shortcut of the video and start another direct for the last Anya Shingyo of the day that I will dedicate to a family in Syria, that some of the members of this family are now refugees in Turkey, and I want to dedicate for them this ceremony and send them all my good wishes for the grieving of a member of family who got killed during this unjust war in, I wanted to say fairly unjust war in Syria, the family Fatala. So when you sit in Zazen, for this I will bring my lotus in. How is this dhyana working? Because it's interesting and maybe important that you understand actually how it works. How your body and mind works during Zazen. Of course, I hope you can see me pretty well. It's dark here, and they are not champions in Egypt of having bulbs who really create light. So I have my underwater flashlight there, who gives that halo and makes my face. It's a little bit weird, but I think you can see me okay. So when you sit in Zazen, you will need a time at the beginning to properly enter that iteration towards the center, towards the core, deep, deeper, deeper, deeper inside. Remember, you place your posture, practice Kosho, and sit in Zazen. You let your breath be free. Inhale, exhale, pacify your mind. You don't need to think about nothing. Okay? If you start thinking about something, you will trigger the skandhas. If you identify to yourself, things will pile on it. If you don't identify to yourself, don't identify to anything, thoughts and difficulties cannot pile. If you think at the beginning of Zazen, ooh, it's gonna hurt, then you'll bring the possibility it's gonna hurt, and then the thought is gonna hurt, and then the fact is gonna hurt, and then the pain. On the opposite sense, if you absorb and let yourself absorb by the exercise, it will go the opposite way. You will go deeper and deeper and deeper in. So you sit, you breathe, focus on your posture, let the thoughts pass, and at a certain point, it will be the first absorption, your mind vanishes. The thoughts are still here, but the mind vanishes, so nobody is here to watch the thoughts anymore. Eventually, depending on your experience and unconscious control you have on your body, you may start to lose the posture. Then your breath will be affected and consciousness will come back. And you will be, oh, I think that was the first absorption. You disappeared. So you correct your posture again, get back to a proper breathing, and get absorbed again. And the second time, deeper. So it is normal when you practice Zazen to make some kind of oscillation in between the conscious and the unconscious. When the consciousness comes, remember the explanations. When the unconsciousness is present, eventually at the deeper absorption, the spirit of observer will be present. Your consciousness has vanished, but still you can start observing the thoughts, simply passing your mind. The second absorption. And eventually your breath will become smaller and smaller. Eventually you'll have that feeling you're almost missing air. So your consciousness will go back, asking you for more oxygen, and you will be at this moment more focused on your breathing. And then again, you will be absorbed deeper and deeper and deeper. The ultimate dhyana may contain what we call the breathless state. You actually stop breathing. It is not an apnea. You just stop breathing. And then your soul will come, asking for eventual spiritual imagery. At this moment, Ishiryo consciousness will be triggered, and these creative thoughts will pop. So understand that what happens inside of Zazen is the same than what happens outside of Zazen, like holofractographic. Deeper in, broader out. Deeper in, broader out. Deeper in, broader out. Again and again and again. So don't judge yourself depending on the experiences you have inside of Zazen. Just always, 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 always let them all pass. Nishiryo consciousness, thinking from the depths of non-thinking, is the essential art of Zazen, says Master Dogen. Myself, as an apneist, obviously the breathless state of Zazen attracts me a lot. When your metabolism is able to function by itself without the need of consciousness to trigger breathing or concentration. It's a complete abandon, completely abandoned. Once your posture is completely abandoned, the self is surrendered, the body and mind are beyond, then on the Zafu only stays the weight of a flame. You vanish. And the bell of the end of Zazen rings. This is very important. When you practice Zazen, at the beginning it's eventually a physical effort. It is necessary, and I really say to you, because I have a lot of experience, it is really necessary that you reach a very agreeable experience of Zazen at a certain point. Unfortunately, it takes a long time. It can take years, if you want to speak in years, or it can take a really big amount of hours of practice. As long as you struggle with the practice of Zazen in your mind or in your body, then your unconscious cannot assimilate the practice of Zazen to something agreeable. You have to be perseverant, and you need courage, and continue, and continue, and continue, and continue. One good day, you make an ecstatic experience. You feel really good. You feel beyond, and your consciousness and unconsciousness can profit of it. At this moment only, you start to get a mastery, control over that phenomenon, and start to be able to suggest yourself, since you know. Your mind is complicated, you can even say to yourself, simplify your mind. And it works because the access to the core of yourself is open. The self is not an obstacle anymore. But the self can only vanish through a good, positive, agreeable feeling. If you think that Zen is about taking yourself and dumping it to the trash, you will just pollute the universe, and we can see the result. I've talked about it already. If you consider giving away yourself, making the gift of yourself to this infinite space you are when you're sitting in Zazen, then there will be a phenomenon of sublimation, and you won't be in opposition with yourself. That is the start of the emancipation from the ego. And just remember it. I'm not asking you to practice it, I'm just asking you to remember this. Start to be curious what happens during Zazen. Don't be just trying to control it all. Let it go, observe, be curious, and learn. This is how the true Dharma is revealed, when you do the experience of Zazen. Very good. I said I will keep it short. So, eventually, you see a little bit my legs, but I will try to give you oral explanations that are easy to understand. Eventually, this posture I'm going to show you is a little bit of a secret, but it's time, it's 21st century, now the secrets needs to be revealed. This posture I will show you of the legs is called Siddhasana. Asana for posture, and Siddhi for magical powers. brought together, Siddhasana makes Siddhasana. So how to cross your legs? You will take, I'm going to show you here, you will take the two first toe of your foot. Okay, you take the big toe of your big toe and the second finger, big toe and the finger just next to it. Okay, and then choose your leg. For example, I will start with the left leg. I will come and bring these two toes inside of the fold of my knee, the opposite knee. So my big toe and the first finger are actually taken inside of the fold of my knee. Understand? Then the foot, which is free, you will take the little toe and the next one just next to it, that you bring on top of the leg. You'll open a little bit the fold of your knee and bring these two toes inside it. Okay, so you have big toe and long toe under your knee on the side, inside of the fold of the knee. And on the other side, the little finger, the little toe, and the next one on top, inside of the fold of the knee. You must try it one time. I swear to you, this is very efficient, and I think it's eventually new in Zen. There is plenty of exercises that you can do inside of the kingdom of Samadhi. This space is limitless. It would be sad that you just try to condition your mind with mortification discipline or conditioned thoughts about religion and what you must do or judge yourself or these kind of things. So as long as your knees touch the ground and your posture is correct, you can have degrees, levels of liberty, of freedom. Use them, try it, be curious, creative with your posture. I personally also do specific things with my tongue, or also with my diaphragm, or the way I breathe, doing sometimes some breath holds on my exhale or breath hold on my inhale to discover how my body-mind reacts to the absence of air. I believe that has made of me a good freediver. The posture of the hands and nothing else will change. This is Siddhasana. So I just talked about two things. Dhyana, the successive and deepening absorption, and this new way of crossing your legs. The successive and deepening absorption, I would like when you practice at home, that you observe it and that you are able to recognize it so that you can start enjoying this absorption and don't assimilate them to a lack of concentration. If you assimilate them to a lack of concentration, you miss the happiness, you miss the experience, the positive, fulfilling experience of the absorption, which is indeed what you're trying to achieve when you practice Zazen. If you get curious and that you are able to observe this, then you realize the immensity of possibilities that are offered to your mind to travel inside what you are. And then slowly you abandon spontaneously the self into a positive and fulfilling experience. And this is the key, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. I've seen too much monks, too much nuns, just going exactly the same way, constricting their inner creativity because of the sake of practice dogma. This is not necessary anymore. Be curious, be creative, and enjoy the ride. Then Siddhasana. Siddhasana will help you through the hours of practice to spontaneously, automatically, naturally, without you to have to do a conscious effort about it, to trigger these magical powers. okay? Which I don't want to tell you what they are, but you will also discover a complete new way to see your body-mind. And by doing again a complete new way of seeing your body-mind, maybe this feeling of happiness and freedom and openness can finally integrate itself inside of Zazen, and then you'll start loving the exercise. It's incredible for me to believe that some people can practice during tens or dozens of years without ever having a complete feeling of freedom, happiness, emancipation, and spiritual liberation. Then, when your body-mind is liberated of this conditioning, it is not important anymore to be a monk, to be a Buddhist, to be this or to be that. The etiquette and all the things or concepts that can pile on this etiquette vanish by themselves, and you finally get able to pronounce a true wish of independence and spiritual freedom. And then you gained your life back. You can be a man or a woman of good. Very cool. Very cool. I wish you discover who you truly are. With the help of all this practice, and actually with the help of yourself. And this is nice. Don't dump yourself. Make it part of the adventure and let yourself dissolve in the exercise. Since the posture is correct and the alignment of your body is good, it can only be healthy for you. Now a little word about neruzen. You go to sleep. You would like, don't exaggerate, huh? Not during the retreat. Master Kosho, he said about how to practice Zen laying on your bed. It does not replace Zazen, but it will also make in sort of you train, discover more, get in touch with the observer state of mind, and that you get more and more able to observe without interfering with what's happening inside of yourself. Understand that when we sit in Zazen, we cross our leg and actually cross our hands. So when you go in your bed, before to fall asleep, you lay on your back and you cross your legs. If your legs are heavy because eventually you have strong legs, or for any reason, legs can be heavy, overweight, tiredness, anything. If you think your legs are heavy and cross them at the level of the ankle is too disagreeable, you can just cross the toes. But at the beginning, when you're a beginner in neruzen, cross the entire ankles. Okay? You can choose. And then bring your hands to your heart this way. You can choose. I would advise you to do like Zazen. The right hand is on top of the left hand, for example, like this. But you can choose. It is more free. It's a bit of a game. Okay, it's a creative game with your body mind. And then again, same thing: posture, respiration, breathing, and state of mind before to sleep or before a nap, and observe. Then, what will happen? Let's say after 10, eventually 15 or 20 minutes, your mind will slowly get splitted into conscious and unconscious, and you slowly enter a paradoxal sleep. You start to have mind imagery and different kind of thoughts. Stay observing, don't move. Remember, it is a practice. It is not just like sitting on the couch and falling asleep. And observe well how your metabolism of conscious and unconscious work. At a certain point, your unconscious will send a message to your body to actually check if you are asleep or not. Observe this very carefully. Every time you go to sleep, this happens. So if you take a specific posture, it will help you unconsciously to train your consciousness to stay aware without interfering with the unconscious. Like this, a little bit like the pharaoh in the sarcophage, okay, in their coffin. The unconscious sends a message to the conscious, which is turn, turn. And you are laying on your bed, and suddenly what happens? You grab your blanket and you turn on the side and fall asleep. And then you're not in control anymore at all. And your time of sleep is completely left to the unconscious to unload and have dreams, and in a way, for spiritual practitioners, this is a little bit of a lost time. So if you go this way, you will feel this moment that, and with more ease, that if you're just letting your body uncontrolled in your bed, you will feel that moment your unconscious is saying to you, turn and fall asleep. Don't move. Don't move. If you don't move at this moment and let this process happen, you will consciously enter your dreams. And by consciously entering your dreams, you will have the possibility to discover this entire world of unconscious that you live actually up until 8 to 9 hours a day without knowing it. You are not only somebody who's awake and sleep at night on the off mode. On the night, it's just your unconscious who's getting the steering wheel. If the conscious is still present without interfering, you have the possibility to discover the entire world of your unconscious. Live experience that you cannot live eventually during your daily life, like flying, like breathing underwater, like traveling through space or eventually time. Meet some people that you have not access to, that they may be alive or dead. And slowly you will be able to perform what we call lucid dreaming or eventually astral travel. The monks of the ancient time knew how to do this. It's not me who's arriving with the new age stuff. They knew how to do this, and they could help souls and entities to go their way. You can access a soul or spirit of the people who died recently, for example, and meet them and help them and bring them your compassion. And this was the art of the monks in the ancient time, art that has been forgotten because of the religious conditioning of the exercise as being a constriction of what you truly are and a constriction of your freedom. So try it, and it all depends on your ability to not move at the moment the unconscious is sending that message of switching off the conscious. It's like, how you call that? It's like dodging this signal. Let make believe to your unconscious that the conscious is asleep by not moving. Okay? Because if you move, it's just after you fall asleep. Understand? If when the unconscious starts to send this signal, move, 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 it is the unconscious who gives the orders. If you react, the unconscious wins, you fall asleep. If you let believe to the unconscious that you are asleep, it will be, okay, the body is asleep, send the dreams. And actually, you're conscious inside of it. And it's an entire new world who can open to you. You can use the world of your unconscious to fulfill desires that you're not able to fulfill during your daily life. You can be rich, you can fly, breathe underwater, anything. It depends on your dream. If you let the unconscious free and switch off the conscious, maybe you don't remember your dreams, or maybe you don't profit of them, and maybe you wake up in the morning with huge interrogation of what was all that. If your conscious is present during your dreams, you'll understand completely the situation, and more, and more, and more, until you are actually able to evolve also into that world. And the barriers of what you believe being the end of life or unconscious existence will vanish, and you'll become more and more fearless. This is good for your emancipation and spiritual independence, which I want to insist on is needed. Is needed so that you can do a good job for humanity. Voilà. This is it. So, I will just now cut the live, and in about not even 2 minutes, I will come back for this ceremony so that the video is out of the different speech, so that eventually the person who asked me to dedicate that ceremony for this family who has deeply suffered, like many, has deeply suffered of the war in Syria, the video can be taken apart from my different speech and eventually be sent to the remaining members of the family so that they can eventually witness that unknown people of goodwill are here also to support them in these very difficult moments. So see you in 2 minutes. Thank you for all those who have come through my talks. Sorry if I have said things were eventually misplaced or too direct. It's an event I do 1 time a year. So let me wish you a nice Lion Gate, and see you online for another International Zazen Day next year, same date, eventually different place. Be blessed and go in peace. I'm back in 2 minutes.